Welcome to episode 35 of the Get More Sports podcast. My name is Doug McKain. Thanks for rocking with us once again. You can find me on Twitter at DMac_LA. That's at DMac_LA. All news related to the Get More Sports podcast you're going to find right over there. But a very special episode of the Get More Sports podcast and the beginning of our Superfan series. Today, the Get More Sports podcast welcomes Gary Martin, the real sign guy. You know Gary Martin. This guy is a legend at Laker games. He brings the most elaborate signs to the games. And we're not talking about any signs, okay? We're not talking about going to the 99-cent store, picking up a piece of cardboard and a Sharpie, and writing Go Sports with 3 exclamation points. This guy's signs take months and months to prepare. They're basically like works of art. They look like they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make. And then also, Gary Martin, he sits one row up from courtside at every single Laker game. For me to get those seats, I would basically have to be a churro vendor, and that's how I could get close to those seats. So not only does he have the most elaborate signs, Gary rubs shoulders with the elite Laker fans, the Laker fans that you see at every game, and he was dropping bombs on the Get More Sports podcast. Wait till you hear about a conversation that he had with Jerry West. Wait till you hear his thoughts on Kawhi Leonard, his expectations for the Lakers, his stories with Lamar Odom and Ron Artest, what goes into making this sign. We had a lot of fun talking to Gary Martin. You're going to love it. So check this out. We caught up with him this morning, so check out my conversation with the Real Sign Guy 1. That's where you can find him on all the socials, at the Real Sign Guy 1. Gary Martin, check this out. Take me back how it all started. I know you're a big Jets fan, you're a Mets fan. I think you had season tickets as an Islanders fan. Did you ever take the bait and ever become a New York Knicks fan? I mean, you're repping all these New York teams. What was it about the Los Angeles Lakers, and when did you fall in love with the purple and gold? Give me the year, give me the moment. What do you remember? Where was it? How does it all begin?
It's very easy for me. It was 1991 when Vlade Divac went running into Magic Johnson's arms. I had just moved out here from Los Angeles, from New York. I'm a transplanted Long Islander, a sports addict. I was a Knicks fan at the time with Patrick Ewing and Johnny Starks and all those guys. But slowly but surely, I started watching and paying attention to the Lakers. And then we got a guy named Nick Van Exel on the team. We had Sedale Threatt and Cedric Ceballos back then. And once we put Eddie Jones on the team, I think it was 1993, I was completely 100. I mean, the transition started from the Knicks to the Lakers, and from 91 to 93, that's when it really started to seep into my bones big time.
And really, growing up, I grew up here in Los Angeles, grew up in South Pasadena, California. That was really the team for me. It was that Eddie Jones team, that Nick Van Exel team, that when we signed Shaq, really those Forum days, that's when it really took off for me. And I'm telling you, I love that era of Laker basketball. I still remember being a young kid watching on KCAL 9, seeing Nick the Quick hit that shot in Boston. Was really one of my youngest memories of being a Laker fan. I mean, you just got to love it. But a couple things. I just really want to kind of dive in to the signs. Some of my favorite signs, I mean, like I'm saying, I've been following you for quite some time. I've had the opportunity to go to some Laker games. I don't have seats like yours. Those are some serious. I don't care if you're Jack Nicholson, second cousins, dentist, whatever. Sitting where you sit, you know you're a big deal, right? But I've seen you in games like, dude, that's the real sign guy in the mix. And I always wonder, because if I show up with your signs, I can't get through the security check, right? So you must have a special deal with Staples Center, correct?
Unfortunately, no. That's been a bone of contention. I don't want to start anything, but it's always quite an ordeal trying to get my signs into the arena. To this day, it's very, very difficult. There is no relationship where they're going to they have not gone out of their way to help me get into the arena with the signs. It's always it's always quite a task to get in. But once I'm in, everybody knows who I am once I get through those front doors. You see, what happens, my friend, is that they change who stands where at each and every game. So every game, there's just completely different personnel at each entrance, so, for obvious reasons. But no, unfortunately, I have not had that luxury of an access to get in as easily as I'd like. And it's my 20th season in the arena, and it's going to be my 14th, going into my 15th season as the sign guy.
Well, I just want to say, hey, I want to take a second. Staples Center staff, Los Angeles Lakers, you roll out the red carpet when the real sign guy rolls through with one of those signs, because those signs do not look cheap. Some of my favorite ones you've ever done, of course, in recent memory, I just love the simplicity of the Lonzo Ball one. You got the Lonzo in a big basketball. I mean, I love the Linning one. I love the You Can't Handle the Randall. But what was the very first sign that really kicked it off? Was there a moment? Was there a game? Was there a player? What really was the inspiration behind the very first sign?
Wow, great question. My very first sign was right after Kobe scored 81 points. I was sitting there courtside, and I never watched anything quite like that. And the hair was standing up on the back of my neck. And I was there with my son, and my wife was a couple of rows behind us with my daughter. And I was just ecstatic at the game, and it was just such a fun moment. And I said to everybody, I said, God, I wish I had a sign that said Kobe. Just Kobe, Kobe. I wish I had that in my hand. Damn it. So 2 weeks later, I had a sign made, Kobe, and it started with that original Kobe sign. That was the very first original sign to the sign guy.
So that was the one.
Kobe's 81 gave birth to the sign guy, correct.
Oh, so it was the Kobe's 81 that kind of kicked it off. I love it. Do you still have the sign today, the Kobe one? I mean, that should be in like the Sports Fans Hall of Fame or something right there. Do you still have it on you and stuff?
I totally agree with you. I think that it's a very, very famous and iconic sign, and it's the only one that I sleep with next to my bed.
Nice. I love it. And then you followed it up. I think you rocked the Mamba one too, right? For a couple years, you had the Mamba one you did for Kobe. Now, what do you do? If you excuse me, I kind of want to nerd out a little bit on the signs just to get things kicked off here. But what do you do with the signs when a player's traded? The Lonzo Ball, the Ingram sign. What are you going to do with the signs for the players that have traded? And do you want my address to? I'll definitely take it off your hands. But what do you do with the signs when the player is no longer a Laker?
Someday I look to maybe do an auction for a public charity where the proceeds would greatly benefit those people here in Los Angeles. I have most of them. I have just about, I would say, about 90% of all the signs. I still have them in storage. And I have most of them still right there. But some of my favorites, you asked me earlier, which were some of my favorites, and I would have to say Shakin' Blake was really great. Steve Blake, Shakin' Blake was a great sign. Everybody seemed to like that one. The Meta World piece is iconic, just the world with the peace sign.
Yes.
That was one that really took off for a long, long time. Chewbacca for Zubats was a very well received sign. People really loved that one. So yeah, there's been quite a few, and I just love getting ready and making the new ones. Last year's LeBron's King head, I think that was a pretty apropos sign for the King coming to LA.
Yeah, some of them seem like they just kind of make themselves, right?
Well, yeah, like Contavious Caldwell Pope, just putting the Pope hat on Contavious Caldwell Pope. And people love that one. That's one of my favorite ones. I always wait for him to hit that three so I can pop that one out.
No, and I was Oh, go on.
What were you saying?
Oh, no, I was going to say, I mean, really, they're so elaborate, the quality of them. It almost looks like there could be an art exhibit for the signs. And do you keep them all in the same place in your home, and you kind of look at them and kind of marvel at your work and stuff like that?
Not exactly, but a lot of work does go into them. They are fabricated at a professional sign maker. I go through, I conceptualize all the signs. We go through the CAD drawing process, and then we do the sizing so it fits underneath my seat. There's a lot to it. To be able to fit those signs underneath my seat, you get a very, very small seat. I'm a pretty big dude. So say what? It's not easy to fit as many signs under my seat as you'd think. I only bring about 4 or 5 players a game, and based on who we're going to play and who's hot and who's not. So it's an art form. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
No, it's a beautiful thing. And one of my favorite things about it, Gary, is the fact that, when you go to Laker games, especially in that lower bowl, there's a certain mystique that Laker fans have. You got the Jack Nicholsons, you got people wearing sunglasses at night. About half the crowd's not even wearing Laker gear down there. They're kind of playing it too cool for school, very LA cool. But you're out there just raging, not only with signs, you're wearing Lakers bling. I mean, you just bring it every day. Like, do you really feel like you set the tone in that lower bowl? And how do you feel like the crowd in your area, and even really the whole lower bowl, feeds off your energy? How much of an impact do you feel like you have really as cheering on the actual team? Do you feel like them feeding off that?
It's not more of them feeding off of me. It's me feeding off of the players. And just after the players do something spectacular, turning around to the crowd and just making sure that they appreciate what they just saw. That's basically what it's all about. It's just about getting up there and cheering for our guys and getting them pumped up and seeing them having a great time and gallop back down the court after something special, chest bumping, doing something special, going to a commercial break. That's when I'm up on my feet and trying to get the crowd going as much as I can.
No, it's great. It's great. And is it a collaborative effort with you and a player? Has any player kind of vetoed one of your signs? Have you had any issues with that? Or 99% of the time, are they giving it the salute? Are they really signing off on the signs?
I once in a while, if I'm going to do something kind of funny, I like to ask the player first if it's okay with them. And a matter of fact, Brandon Ingram, who I love very much, great kid, just one of the best personalities of a player that we've ever had, actually. And he loved the fact that I called him the real deal. I mean, I'd go up there, and every time he would hit something, I'd go up with real deal because, in my opinion, the kid's the real deal. Okay, and then I was listening to a couple of telecasts, reading a little things here on social media that people called him Slender Man. So I came out with a BI sign with a picture of a Slender Man underneath it, and I don't think he liked it. He kind of gave me the don't do that again kind of like, no, like, cut that one out. That's not it. No, let's go back to real deal. I like real deal. So.
BI hit you with that. BI hit you with the side eye. It looks like, huh? He was not feeling, but that's cool. I mean, hey, you got to do it though, right? Couple things.
Chop the neck. Kind of like, no, got to cut that one out. So okay, I won't bring that one back.
Yeah, BI's that guy. I mean, he's a killer, right? He's a killer. He's a guy that you can feel that intensity of Brandon Ingram. That makes me want to get into a couple of Laker topics. I want to get your thoughts on what was your initial reaction. You go to all these games. One of the things I respect so much about you is the fact that, hey, I remember when the Lakers, when they're rebuilding and you were still in the house. Your fandom did not waver at all whatsoever, and you saw these young players grow. You saw Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. You saw them, Kyle Kuzma. They started to grow. What was your initial reaction this summer when they traded Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram for Anthony Davis? I'd imagine there being some mixed emotions there. What were your thoughts?
I'm a fan, and fans get attached to players, and I am no different. I thought that the development of the players was going in such a great direction that whether we made that trade or not, we were still going to be pretty damn competitive. Most people remember that we were 4th in the West last year before all the injuries started happening with LeBron on Christmas Day. So I thought that we were on our way to greatness with the roster that we had. However, it's a business. And when in a business you can get an asset to the transcendent type player of an Anthony Davis, you got to go for it. And I just was praying to God that they were going to be able to hold one of them. I didn't know which one they were going to hold. But of the 3 of them, I was praying on my prayers, please don't give up all 3.
Yeah.
Don't give up Lonzo, Kuz, and B.I. Don't pull that out. I mean, I for a long time, I kind of thought that the trade, because David Griffin had an affinity for Brandon Ingram, I always kind of thought that Brandon was going to be the guy to go. And to tell you the truth, on the court, the chemistry between LeBron and Brandon wasn't exactly what you'd like it to be. And that's not any knock on either one of those players. It's just that chemistry is either there or it's not naturally, and it just didn't feel like a natural flow. And I love Brandon Ingram, and I think he's going to go on to be an absolute superstar in the league. I think that New Orleans is in for a shock to see the kind of team that they're going to have. I think they're going to upset a lot of people in this next year. I think that we're going to be better. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody's going to come near the Lakers. But I do got to admit that the Pelicans did a great job also. I think they're going to have a very, very competitive team for how young they are and the fact that they're just coming together in the first year. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people in the West.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a UCLA guy, so I was very attached to Lonzo Ball. And when Magic was saying, I want to see Lonzo's number retired in the Raptors, he looked like he was going to be your lifelong Laker. But look, when Anthony Davis, a player with a top 3 all-time PER, you pair him with LeBron James, you're instantly title contenders. What are your expectations for this Lakers team as they go into this year? LeBron James in year 2. They add an Anthony Davis. I thought they pivoted really well after not being able to add Kawhi. I like the pickups of Danny Green. They got Avery Bradley. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to step into a nice 3 or 4 role. What are your expectations? I know you're a Laker fan, so it's championship or bust. I understand the level of expectations that all Laker fans have. But as you said last year, Christmas Day, but when LeBron hurts his groin, they were headed for tops in the West. They were right there. They had just beaten the Warriors in Golden State. I didn't expect the Lakers to win it last year, but what are your thoughts and expectations heading into this year?
Look, I'm not a homer. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a homer. I go after what I think and I say what I feel, and I'm not somebody that hides behind tone or whatever is supposed to be politically correct here. I'm going to tell you the way I feel. Anything short of a championship is going to be shocking to me, okay? We're the Lakers, and this is our team, and this is our time. We are back. We just had 6 years of crapola, and we went long enough waiting for this moment. We have the best player in the NBA in LeBron James and a very, very close second, third, fourth player in Anthony Davis. Together, they form the best 1-2 punch I've seen since Kobe and Shaq. They are going to dominate. Do you know the GIF, the GIF, when the Hulk is smashing that guy against the floor?
Yes.
That's what we're going to do with the NBA this year, okay? We're going to smash them to obliviation. They should come out as hot and as hungry and as pissed off as we all are at the last 6 seasons and the fact that anybody would choose any other franchise over the purple and gold. They should come out with a sense of purpose, and they should know what they're doing each and every quarter coming up this season. And they shouldn't want to lose a freaking minute, okay? Not with the roster that they've been put together. And you talk about putting together a roster on the fly. Let me tell you about a guy named Rob Pelinka. My kudos to Rob Pelinka. What a great job this guy did after being screwed by that louse that went to the Clippers, okay, to make us wait around while he just sat around drinking his tea or whatever he does and his what did it be? What would it be? All right, great. Good job for you. You got us. But in the meantime, you didn't get the better team. You didn't get the better roster. We have the better team. We had the better roster. Under duress, plan B, work to perfection. I think that every player has a purpose, a role, and I think that Rob Pelinka was up for the challenge, and he did a spectacular job.
Gary, you just got it is like August 5th. The season's like 2 months away. You got me about ready to run through a brick wall. They need to play. I need to send that last little clip to the Lakers. They need to play that over Van Halen's Right Now or the Who's Bubba O'Reilly as the Lakers are coming out onto the floor, because you can feel your intent. This feels like it's one of the most anticipated seasons that you've ever had as a Laker fan, and I totally agree with you. What Rob Pelinka was able to do, look, Kawhi Leonard, I believe truly is a top 1, 2, or 3 player on any given night. I think the Lakers owed it to themselves to wait it out and see if they could get Kawhi Leonard. But look, Rob Pelinka, he was up to the task. He made other moves that I think that really puts the Lakers, it gives them the depth. Don't forget, they signed Boogie Cousins. They made all these moves, and I really think this is one of the most anticipated seasons for Laker fans, and it just feels my next question, I think you kind of answered my next question about Kawhi Leonard, if you thought he was playing the Lakers. Do you think that Kawhi Leonard was consciously waiting out the whole situation? Because you've heard reports that if they were unable, if Jerry West, if Ballmer, if Doc Rivers and company weren't able to pull off that trade for Paul George, that he was going to be a Laker. Do you truly believe that that long wait was a way of Kawhi Leonard to say, hey, let me try to prevent these free agents from going to the Lakers? Do you believe that?
I'm about to start some controversy.
That's what we love here on the Get More Sports podcast, my man.
The week before the trade, I spoke to Jerry West personally. The week before the trade, exactly 7 days prior. And he told me beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was going to get Kawhi Leonard. He knew it. He 100% knew he was going to land him. So if he knew it, then Kawhi knew it. That's just the way it is. That's just the way I feel. He knew it. He 100% guaranteed. He said, Gary, he's coming to the Clippers. Guaranteed it. Write it down. Market it. It's happening.
So you think it was all a smokescreen? You think it was all smoke? It was a smoke show by Kawhi Leonard because, hey, this means war if you're the Lakers, and you heard it from you first. And I was going to ask you a little later, being the fan you are you privy to certain inside information that regular fans, I don't consider you a regular fan.
No.
You're halfway in, halfway.
No, we have mutual friends.
Yeah.
And I was able to have an opportunity to talk to him, and I asked him the question, so what's going to be with Kawhi? And he just blurted it right out. He just said, we're getting him. He's coming to the Clippers. I guarantee it. And I was like, amazing. And he goes, not only that, I'm bringing somebody else with him. So he knew it. He 100%, I swear to God, he knew.
So how do you feel about the Clippers? Do you think this is just a blip? Do you think that you got guys out there excited saying, oh, maybe someday, maybe 50 years down the road, this could be a Clipper town? What do you think this means for the Clippers? Are they really a threat to the Los Angeles Lakers? Of course, me personally, I don't think there's any type of threat as far as this ever becoming a Clipper town. The Lakers have too much history, 16 championships, most finals appearances, most playoff wins. You name it, the Lakers are tops in the league in pretty much every single category as far as being the marquee franchise. But what do you say to Clipper fans right now that say, hey, we're talking about right now. All Laker fans do is talk about their past and their rich history. What do you say to those Clipper fans that say, hey, it's about who has the better team right here, right now?
Look, I'm not going to address that. I don't want to start a war, but the Clipper fans, there is no rivalry. They in their minds, because they're delusional, they think that there's a rivalry. After their first win, they'll still be 15 behind. That's number one. Number two, they first have to make it to a Western Finals to win a first championship, okay? Let's just worry about getting there before you take a giant step and actually win a championship, all right?
Yeah.
So the thought of it ever becoming a Laker town, it's laughable. That's number one. I mean, a Clipper town is laughable. It's going to always be a Laker town. That's number one. Number two, let me tell you something, my friend. Had Kawhi Leonard chosen to go to New York, chosen to go to the Lakers, the Clippers would have had to move. The entire franchise would have been forced to change localities. They would not have been able to stay in Los Angeles if the Lakers had got that three-headed monster. If it had happened, there's a big if there, it didn't happen. But had it happened, there's no way that the Clippers could have competed in this town ever for another decade. So, the entire landscape of the NBA pretty much changed to Los Angeles right now. Do I have a worry about it becoming a Clipper town? No. Do I worry about the Clippers? Look, if you don't respect your opponent, then the opponent has an edge. You have to respect them enough to go into the training room, to go into their El Segundo facility and practice like hell to come out with 100% intensity, because they're going to come out with 110% intensity. So we're going to have to match it. If we think that it's just going to be a walk show and we're going to just like saunter onto the court and be our personalities and our mystique rather than the talent that's within each one of these players, we're going to get blown off the court, and that's going to be a bad, bad situation. We don't want that to happen. I don't foresee that happening. I foresee this Laker team being as hungry as any team ever in the history of the franchise, because they should be. They just got stood up by a player that had an opportunity to come here. So they should be pissed off as hell about that.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you on that.
They disrespected the king. You don't disrespect the king.
You don't. You don't. Look, the Clippers. Look, I give a lot of respect to the Clippers. Steve Ballmer has emptied his pockets. He's really hired the best in the business when it comes to Jerry West, Doc Rivers. He's a phenomenal coach. But look, they don't understand. Look, if the Clippers will only be a story, in my opinion, if they're winning. And that's the difference between the Clippers and the Lakers. The Lakers are a story no matter what. If the Lakers are the best team in the NBA, it's about the Lakers. If the Lakers are the worst team in the NBA, it's even more about the Lakers because it's about the turmoil and the drama, and it's about how to fix the Lakers. But I don't think Clipper fans understand that LeBron James, he can't be, save for Elgin Baylor, he can't be the one Laker to not win a championship. There is a lot of pressure on LeBron James, and trust me, I have LeBron James as a top 5 all-time player, but he wins a ring for the purple and gold. He gets us closer to passing the Celtics, and really, it's a game changer. But I'm with you, but I want to give you get your take on a couple other things as far as the fan dynamic. This is my Mount Rushmore of Laker fans, okay? Here's my Mount Rushmore of Laker fans. I want to get your opinion. First of all, I don't have Jack Nicholson on this list because I think Jack Nicholson, he has like the Lincoln Monument in D.C.
No, X, no good.
No, hear me out. I think that he's bigger than being on the Mount Rushmore list. I think that he should have his own. He has the Lincoln Monument. He has his own statue in D.C. You feel me?
Okay, I got you.
No one's worthy to be on the same level. You feel me?
He's on a different level.
No, I worship Jack Nicholson. But what do you think about my list? Well. I got Diane Cannon, Flea, Ice Cube, you, and then Andy Garcia. How do you feel about I added one more there, but how do you feel about is there anyone that you would put on there that I didn't mention? Of course, Jack Nicholson, he's in his own category of being the number one best Laker fan of all time. But how do you feel about my list right there?
You forgot Norm Pattis.
He's the Westwood one guy. He's the Westwood one guy, right?
Yep, you got to go with Norm Pattis. You got to go with Richard Simmons from Shepherd Mullen, the guy who sits next to me. Looks like the with the dark beard. A couple of guys away from me with the dark beard and the mustache. It's two places away from me.
Yeah.
He's been a Lakers season ticket holder since 1984. He's been with me forever. Jeffrey Katzenberg right in front of me, another one spectacularly very, very, very big. Joel Silver and Karen Silver. Oh, my God, they're huge lower bowl people. Joseph Yemeni, another businessman that's a tremendous Laker fan. There are a lot of fans out there that are super fans. And your Mount Rushmore, I think, is a pretty darn good list.
And I was going to ask you, too. Seeing what like I said, you were there during the down years. Are there people that you've seen leave, and will they come back, and will you welcome them back for player? Because you never left, right? And I know that the guys you mentioned, they never left. Do you think there will be a certain amount of bandwagon fans that will come back when the Lakers start fronting? Because I think that one of the big misconceptions is that the Lakers do have loyal fans that are with them through thick and thin, through good years and bad years. But really, I think that it's really going to be a new wave of excitement this year. But how do you feel about that? Do you think that there's going to be people that had left and will come back?
Every one of the fans I just mentioned are some of the most successful people in all of California, maybe some of the most successful people in the world. None of those people missed any games in the last 6-7 years that we were going through a transition right there. These are very, very loyal fans. Every single one of them I just mentioned to you. They're there through thick and thin. They're always there. There's one guy, everybody knows us as it's also a super fan, but he comes for a different kind of reason. He roots against the Lakers, is Jimmy Goldstein.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. He's the NBA fan, and he's a Laker hater. I see him driving around town in he drives like a Silver Cloud Rolls Royce, right? It's crazy, right? How real is that hatred? You think it's just for fun, or do you think he really hates the Lakers?
I had time to spend time with him when we traveled together to Game 5 when we were in Boston, the championship game. When we lost Game 5, we came back and won the last two here. That was in 2010. I had breakfast with Jimmy, and he doesn't really, really, really loathe the Lakers, but he definitely does like it when they lose. It's a very unusual dynamic. He goes there to root for the opposing team, and every opposing team goes through and gives him a high five before they take the court. He's just rooting against the Lakers, and he's allowed to when you own the house. That's
from the Big Lebowski, right?
Correct. You can do whatever the hell you want. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a fan of greatness, and everything's really tailor-made for him to be a Laker fan. But, hey, as long as he's supporting the NBA, I'm all cool with it. And you know that if he's there and Kobe's going off or LeBron's going off, you know he's respecting greatness, even if he's happy if the Lakers do lose. But I was going to ask you, too, a couple things. As far as Christmas Day matchups and the Clippers matchup, how does this compare to some of those matchups against the Heat in the past, Golden State, some of those Boston matchups in the past? To me, it feels a little more personal. I know that sounds crazy because it's Boston and L.A., but there's something about sharing the same building. There's something about the fact that they cover the Lakers championship banners. This Clippers-Laker rivalry feels like it could really surpass Phoenix or the Trailblazers or some of the big-time rivalries in the past. What are your thoughts on that? Does this one feel a little more personal than some of the Lakers' big rivalries in previous years?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's going to be the hottest ticket in town. I think it's going to be a really emotionally filled, charged, all-out battle of the two, Western superpowers, and it just happened to be in the same building. And I think that we're going to it's going to have an electricity and a buzz in the air that I haven't felt since Kobe and Shaq. It's been a while. Oh, you know what? There was a lot of time when Pau and Lamar and Kobe also drew that kind of buzz as well. So it feels like it's a championship buzz. It feels like it's here again. And I can't wait until opening day on October 22nd.
All right. Well, hey, Gary, you've been very generous with your time. I could talk to you all day. I'm going to get a couple more from you if that's cool. Is that cool? You still got time for a couple more questions?
I'm enjoying it. I'll go all night.
Oh, all night? Okay. So I want to, first of all, who's your all-time favorite Laker?
Oh, that's going to put me in a lot of trouble. Well, I'm not, Look, you can't dispute the greatness of the Kobe Bean Bryant, of the Black Mamba, the El Vino, the assassin that was the Black Mamba. I saw him from the first game he ever played until the last game he ever played, and I loved him very, very much. He was the most dynamic and exciting player that I've ever seen in my life, next to Michael Jordan. I really am blessed to have been able to watch his entire career, and for most of it from a courtside perspective. That said, come on, man, how can you not love Shaquille O'Neal? I mean,
Diesel.
Shaq was just the most wonderful, jovial, happy, funny, intelligent, dominant player that ever was. He was like watching Gigantor on the hardwood. It was just a mountain of a man against little boys. It was a strength and a power and a thunder that I've never seen before. And he just enjoyed every second of being a Laker. I think that he really enjoyed his time here, and we enjoyed having him here. And it's a tough business. And, those are two of my favorite players. Meta World Peace, another guy that I got along with unbelievably well, Derek Fisher, Pau. These are just guys that, through the years, Lamar Odom and I were very, very, very close. We used to go to parties together all the time. I mean, not those kind of parties.
That could be its own other podcast. That'll be when we bring you back on that.
No, not like that. Not like that. Like,
yeah.
No,
I know what you mean.
Right. And it was just an awful lot of fun. Through the years, there's been so many. Steve Blake, another kid that was just a fantastic guy. I enjoyed D'Angelo Russell the time that he was here. I thought that Brandon Ingram is just a terrific kid. I thought that Lonzo was extremely respectable. We had a lot of really, really wonderful guys that, like sands through the hourglass, as they say, right? It's just, you're really happy to see them come. Like, here's a great example. I despised Matt Barnes. I wanted to see Matt Barnes, like, hurt himself. I was just very angry at Matt Barnes all the time, okay? And then he became a teammate of ours, and he became part of our squad, and he was one of the nicest, kindest, most approachable, great dudes ever. I almost didn't want to like him. It was impossible. He was just a really great guy.
Yeah, I remember when he was with the Magic. We pointed the ball at Kobe, but that was one thing I loved about Kobe is Kobe said, "Hey, Rajah Bell, Ron Artest," and people that really challenged him, Kobe had no issues adding because he really kind of respected him. And then a couple more. I would ask you, what is your single greatest moment as a Laker fan at Staples Center? What comes to mind? What immediately pops into your head?
I got three of them. I got them in three parts.
You got a big three. Fire away.
Coming in third place is Kobe's 81-point game. That was absolutely magical. I knew I was watching history while I was watching it. And it was just, something that I'll never see again. And I just thought that it was, watching history. So I really enjoyed that. Number two, Kobe's 60-point game, his last game. Oh my God. Are you kidding? You're going to go out and you're going to score 60 points on your last night at home with the most star-studded crowd I've ever seen in my life, in front of your wife and children who were sitting right in front of me. Yeah. It was just absolutely magical. One of the greatest nights ever. And, of course, coming in first place, by far, no doubt, hands down, Game 7 against the hated Celtics. To be able to watch that game and the fact that we were down for 3.5 quarters, come storming back, and Sasha Vujacic knocking down those free throws and Meta hitting that three. Oh my God!
He passed me the ball.
Thanks, Kobe.
What gets lost in that is the machine stepped up, and he banged home 2 free throws. Remember his routine? He would kind of swipe his eyebrows, touch his face. I mean, the machine stepped up, and he knocked those free throws. I'm telling you, that I wasn't lucky enough to be at that game, but that was probably my single greatest moment as a fan of anything. I can't – after losing to them in 2008, that game – I'm telling you, Gary, I still have nightmares of Game 3. You remember Game 3, the Ray Allen game? We had that the Lakers had that series, and I'm telling you, if the Lakers had lost 2 series in 3 years to the Celtics, it would have been just torture. But I'm with you. Kobe Bryant didn't have the best shooting game, but he did everything else. He rebounded. By that time, he was really, really worn down. But Kobe Bryant, he was a star, and Ron Artest hits the big shot. And I'm with you. That was really the crown jewel of Laker moments, really, for me. But you were telling me
there's a legendary story about that I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I'm gonna definitely ask Derek Fisher about it when I see him. But apparently, Kobe was really, as you remember, Kobe was just not having a Kobe night in that night. He was tired. The season, the playoffs, everything caught up to him, and he was just flat. Okay. And apparently, he was still shooting the ball a lot, like 18, 19 times by the half. And apparently, Derek Fisher went over to him and said, "Hey, cut it the F out. You got to start passing the ball around and distributing this ball, or else we're going to lose this game." And that's when Kobe went on an assist tear that was, memorable to this day.
And he still hit that pull-up, too. He still hit that pull-up late. And really, and really they were all – I mean, that was when the Celtics had Thibodeau and they had Doc, and they were just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Kobe Bryant. He still won the Finals MVP, and the Lakers still got it done. I'll never forget the smile on his face, him throwing the ball up for the Lakers. But you're mentioning, I know you have a new line of sunglasses out or glass frames, right? You want to tell me about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, for the longest time in my career, I was the designer for so many different brands. I did Ed Hardy, I did Christian Audigier, I did True Religion, I did Robert Graham, I did Disney, I did the Beatles, I did Betsy Johnson, I did Callaway. I created and designed eyewear, Revolution Eyewear, for 25 years. And I retired a few years ago, and some people have come to me and they've asked me, what do I think about coming back? And I'm thinking about doing a line of exclusive sunglasses called Gary Martin. It'll be my exclusive collection, and that should be out around Christmas time. But thank you for asking about that.
Nice. And then tell everyone the Get More Sports podcast. You can follow Gary over at The Real Sign Guy 1 on Twitter, right? It's The Real Sign Guy 1. We're going to have it in the show notes. Lastly, can you give us any special preview for the signs for next year? I'd imagine you might throw a unibrow up there for Anthony Davis. Can you give us anything? I know it's probably top secret, but what can we look forward to as far as this year's signs?
I promise you this. Anthony Davis's sign will be iconic.
Yes.
You guys will remember it. It'll be a lot of fun. And each and every player will have a little something for each and every one of them. I don't know. I can't bring them all to every game, but during the season, you'll see the signs popping up, and I'll make sure that everybody has a good time with it, including the players.
It's going to be great. And then maybe you can have a Get More Sports podcast sign. What do you think about that? No, I'm just messing with you, Gary, but want to thank you again for joining the Get More Sports podcast.
You do a terrific job. This is a really good, well-run show, and I appreciate you.
No, thank you very much. And we look to have you on in future episode once the season gets kicked off. But thanks again. Really appreciate you joining the Get More Sports podcast. And have a great rest of your week, Gary, and go Lakers, right?
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, take it easy, my man.